Today's session is about self-leadership. So if you have been looking for ways to step up in your life, in your business, in your career, and show up for yourself in a stronger way, if you've been looking for tools to lead yourself better so that you can lead either your following, your team, or yourself, your family, your peers in a stronger capacity, then this video is for you. So you already know that the results that you have, the circumstances that you're in, is a direct result of your identity, of who you are, of how you show up in the world, of the effort that you put in there, the quality that you apply to yourself and to your work, to how you show up in your connections and your friendships. And you know already that how you show up in the world is directly guided by your ability to lead yourself. So if you lack discipline, you know that you're the one who leads yourself into discipline. You don't expect someone else to come and create discipline out of the blue for you and now you have it. So that's just to kind of put the foundation there. We already know these things, you already know these things. So that is not so much what I'm going to be talking about. You already know that self-leadership is important. You already know that you're responsible. You already know that you have the ability to keep yourself accountable. And if what you're looking for is simply some tools, then how can you really identify the areas in which you should lead yourself better? How can you move stronger into your own capacity? Then this is what we're going to talk about today. It's going to be a short video because it's really not very complicated. It all comes down to, let's start by setting the scenario here. It all comes down to first identifying the areas in which you can improve. And then it comes to the intentionality that you put into improving on these areas. And then you're going to have the results of the person who leads themselves stronger. So this can be better partnerships, better friendships, better romantic relationships, stronger business, better sales, promotions and salary increases and everything else. So self-leadership comes down to being able to identify what is it that you're lacking right now, that is keep taking the responsibility and the accountability for the lack of results that you're having and putting effort into changing that. And the way that you lead yourself is the most important when it's difficult. And I think a lot of people really miss out on this because most of us, we're really good at leading ourselves when it's easy. We're really good at saying, I'm going to get up early, I'm going to go to the gym, I'm going to take a cold shower, I'm going to eat healthy, I'm going to show up in, higher energy, I'm going to do this and this and this and this and that. And then you have a bad day or you have a bad night's sleep. And then all of that is being put on the shelf. And this is not to say that you should never take a day's rest and you should never listen to what your body is sending you. If you're really tired, definitely, it's not about that. It's about how we show up when it's hard. It's about when you're tired, when you're hungry, when you're irritated in any way, how do you respond to other people? What kind of excuses are you making for yourself? What are the reasons that you're telling yourself that you don't actually have to show up in the same capacity? It always comes down to the days, the moments where we're under pressure, where we are feeling exhausted, where we just want to throw everything away and go home and watch Netflix and eat cake. Those are the days, those are the moments that show us the extent to which we're able to lead ourselves. Self-leadership is not only about showing up on the good days. Self-leadership is not only about having a period of time. I'm going to be really, really great in this area for this period of time, and then I'm just going to go back to who I was. It's not about just showing up when you feel like it. It's not about trying. It's about doing. It's about seeing yourself as being the most capable person who is able to not snap at their partner when they trigger you, but to actually sit back and think, why am I feeling annoyed right now? And in which capacity should I be responding? And this is something that we can all work on, right? I definitely have my moments where I'm still snapping at people when I shouldn't. And the thing is, it often is being put in the direction of the people that we love the most, because those are the ones that we feel safe with. So we just allow ourselves to snap, be annoyed, to kind of release all of that built up resentment or anger or whatever we have towards that person. But those are the people that deserve the best of us. So many of us, we go out and we show our best faces to the people that we barely know and that we don't necessarily care that much about. And when it comes to the people that we trust the most, those that we feel the most vulnerable with, those that we love the most, those from whom we get love, we get trust, we get loyalty, we know that if we throw something in their direction, they're still going to be there tomorrow. So it becomes so easy to put that towards them. But how you act in any scenario is going to show you the limitation to your self-leadership. How you act anywhere is going to show you where you need to actually put in the work. Because if you find yourself snapping at people, that is an opportunity for you to grow and become a better person, a better self-led person. It is the moments where you don't want to do the thing that count the most. It is the days where you really don't want to go to the gym that it's most important that you go. It is the days where you just want to snap at people and not talk to people, that it matters the most that you treat them with the kindness and respect and kind communication. It is when you feel the most annoyed, the most triggered, the most angry, is when you've had a call with the person, if it's your mom or an auntie or someone who just bugs you and pushes you and pressures you, and you just want to get all of that out. It's in those moments that your self-leadership shows you how good you actually are at leading yourself. So if you want to grow, and I know if you're in this space here, you definitely want to grow. Personal growth is a big value for you. If you want to grow, we need to first be honest with ourselves about where can I improve? Where can I do better? And that is about identifying when am I not feeling the best and how do I act? How am I acting when I'm tired? How am I acting when I'm hungry? How am I acting when I just want to lie down and not talk to people and people are still talking to me? How am I communicating to them that this is not the moment for conversation? How do I come across when it's the hardest to come across in a professional, diplomatic, and kind manner? Those are the days where you get to really know yourself. Those are the days where you see, this is how good I'm actually leading myself. This is how well I'm actually leading myself. This is my capacity of leadership. So all the days where you feel like, I just don't want to do it today. I want to call in sick. I want to cancel this meeting. I want to just stay at home and eat this and watch that. And again, it's not to say that you should never take a rest day. How you lead yourself also shows other people how they can lead themselves. Your self-leadership becomes the mirror in which other people see themselves. So if you're the kind of person who often calls in sick because they just don't feel like it, you are indirectly indicating to other people that it's okay for them to do the same. So how you show up, especially on your worst days, is going to show people how they should show up. You're gonna show them that mirror. And the more that you allow yourself to fall short, the more that you allow yourself to just snap at somebody and then afterwards come and say, oh, sorry about that, by the way, that wasn't the best thing. The more you allow other people to just give an excuse when they do something instead of actually trying to get it right the first time. So identifying where are the gaps between the leader that I want to be, that person who is so strong in their values, who's so strong in their power, who's so strong in how they lead themselves, who has such good, strong, undeniable integrity. The person that I look up to, that person, how far is there from how they would act in this situation to how I'm acting in this situation? And then see, how can I amend that? How can I get better at this? How can I make sure that the snapping reduces and one day is gone? How can I make sure that my excuses disappear and I just do the thing, especially when it's hard? And I would really invite you to, next time you're in a situation where you just want to throw the towel in the ring, you just want to lie down on the floor, you don't want to have anything to do with anybody, look at yourself and see, how would I want to show up in my highest capacity in this situation? What kind of example do I want to set for other people, whether it will be children, friends, colleagues, team members? How would I want someone else to act in this situation? A person that I respect the most. How would I see them show up here? And then do that. And it is hard at first. It is hard because if it were easy, everyone would just do it. The hard thing is going against those pushes that we get from the inside. It is going against that desire to act out, to just be annoyed, to yell, to scream, to snap, to use, very ugly language towards someone. And I've made the mistake of thinking, I need to get this off my chest. So I'm just going to get all of this off my chest. And I've been so blessed to have people in my life who listen. And then I realized afterwards, I didn't use language that's like demeaning in that sense. I would just say, this is my very unfiltered opinion and experience of what we just went through. And this is what I don't feel is okay. And instead of taking it from a sense of really compassion and trying to understand the other person and making sure that it comes across in a way that doesn't sound like I'm blaming them, I would just prioritize getting it off my chest. Because for such a long time, I would have kept all of this inside and not tell people how I felt. I would have not said to people, this bugged me, this bothered me, this hurt me. This was not okay with me. Here, you overstepped my boundaries. You fell short on very basic standards. I would never say that. I would eat it up and I would accept it, and it would spread almost as disease in my body until I would just forget about it. And it hurt my energetic frequency. It hurt my energy. Because now I came through as the doormat energy who would just accept everything and just be mad for a few days and then never talk about it, and then we just pretend it never happened. And because I wanted to move away from that person to the person who can have really difficult conversations and be able to say what's on my chest, be able to say what's on my mind, and be able to do it in a way that the other person understands, this hurt me. This was not acceptable to me. This is how I see this situation, and I actually don't think that thing you did or that thing you said is okay. Because I wanted to go from the old me to the new me, I didn't realize that I could have stepped even further and gotten into an even better me, who's able to do it in a way that is not driven by emotion, but driven by solution, driven by, let's have this conversation so that we can move forward, and let's do it in a way that it doesn't come across as hurt or hurtful or angry or bitter or resentful, frustrated. But it's just communicating. This is what happened, and this is how it impacted me, and this is how I would have liked it to be instead. And maybe this is what we can do next time. And then let's move forward from that. I could have very easily skipped the middle step, but because my focus was on me and what I wanted to do, and I wanted to get this off my chest so that it doesn't hurt, I don't carry it around. I went just straight to, I'm just gonna put it all out there, like word vomit, and then just see what the other person says. And then if they get triggered, if they get defensive, then they're the problem. It's so easy for us to put blame on other people because we only ever see things from our own perspective, our own perception of what happened. So when we show up in a way that is 100% guided by what we felt, how we felt it, what we thought happened, the assumptions that we made, the judgments and the labels that we put on it, and we just throw it all out there, forgetting that the other person is a human being, and we just like, I just needed to get this off of my chest. Okay, so I put all of this out into this space, this shared space that we have. And this human being on the other side is just supposed to take it and be like, okay, I'll do better next time. That's not how it works. In order to lead others, we need to lead ourselves. In order to lead conversation, we need to be able to lead ourselves. In order to become a match for the results that we want, we need to lead ourselves. We need to be consistent, we need to be disciplined, and we need to understand what is going on in here and how does it come across into the space. We need to understand that we need to break free from the bare minimum and target excellence in everything that we do. And it is this sense of entitlement. It is this sense of just only doing bare minimum and thinking that you deserve good results from that is hurting your actual results. We have become kind of disillusioned with what something really takes. The results that we desire do not come easy. So when we think that the bare minimum is our best, but the bare minimum is just the bare minimum, then we get the results that are worthy from the bare minimum. But if you... Milo says hi. He agreed with that point. If you're here because you want to do something incredible, if you want to fulfill a vision, if you have a big vision for what you want to achieve, if you want to make an impact, if you want to make change, then you need to have the ability to lead others. Whether it is just leading people into buying into your mission and your vision, whether it is allowing people for you to impact them, you need to be able to lead. You need to be able to lead yourself. Because how you lead yourself, you might have all of the right words for it. You might have someone else who wrote your script, and you show up and you say all the right things, but your energy doesn't lie, and people can smell and taste and feel that energy, and they can tell you don't lead yourself. You're just really good with words. And if that's the case, they're never going to buy into your vision. They're never going to allow you the chance to impact them. So your self-leadership shows up everywhere. If you want the privilege to be able to lead a team, you need to be able to lead yourself. And this is something that most leaders don't learn. We do this thing where we promote experts in their field. We promote people who are really good at what they do. And then we think you can teach other people to be really good at what they do, what you do. And so we promote these experts, and then they get put into a leadership position, but they have no idea how to lead anyone because they've never learned. They might be able to do the thing, but how do you teach someone to act against their initial desires of not working hard if you don't do it in areas where you get challenged? So many experts, they've gotten really good at something because they were very passionate about it, and they had the desire to put in the hours and the time and the repetitions, and they became experts over time. And just working hard for that always kind of came natural. And now you're trying to get people for whom it doesn't come natural to do it by saying, oh, just do it. But that's not how it works. If you want to lead people into doing something that is challenging and that is hard and that is difficult and that doesn't make sense to them, you need to be able to start doing things that are hard and that are difficult and doesn't make sense to you. And sit with the feelings and acknowledge the feelings of what that's like. You need to know the conversations that are happening in your own head when you want to give up on something, but you keep going. You need to understand the frustrations on a whole different level of wanting to push yourself into something when you don't have the belief in yourself that you can't do it, that you can do it. You keep thinking that you can't. There's so many people who are giving their imposter syndrome and their fear of failure so much power that they're not actually willing to fight it because they think immediately that they're going to lose. So they would rather avoid getting into situations where they meet this imposter syndrome, where they meet this fear of failure. So they just avoid the situation altogether and they just say, oh, no, that part is not for me. How do you teach someone to do hard things when they immediately just believe that they can't do hard things? You have to give them the motivation and the trust that they can do difficult things. And if you have those issues, doing something as simple as taking cold showers in the morning is excellent. Every single morning when I turn on the cold water, I do this after doing the hot water. Every single morning I turn on I open for the cold water. Before I do it, I remind myself I can do hard things. And it might sound as something that's not very hard. For me, showering in cold water is not easy. It's not incredibly difficult. It is the moment of just switching the handle over to the cold side that is the hard thing. Because you know what's coming, and you're going to accept it, and you're going to do it anyway. So just remind myself you can do hard things. And that is the only reason I take cold showers in the morning, is to remind myself every single day I can do hard things. So how do you become that person? Growing up, it was very easy for us to learn new things, right? Because we accepted that it took repetition. We accepted that there were things that we hadn't learned yet. Nobody tried to shame us into thinking that we were any worth less because we hadn't developed some skill. We wanted to learn how to tie our shoes. We wanted to learn to get up and walk. So we kept at it over and over and over and over again. Imagine if toddlers and babies were like adults who just give up on things when they became hard. How many adults would you have crawling around in the street because they never learned how to walk? It's ridiculous, right? Everything comes with repetition, and even learning how to do hard things, even learning how to push yourself into an uncomfortable space, even learning even learning a new language is hard. I always tell myself I'm too old for this. That's such an excuse. It's such a limiting belief, right? If you really want to learn a new language, you can learn a new language. It's about a priority. It is about doing it, and it's about the repetitions, and it's about the practice, and it's about accepting that this is going to take time and this is going to be difficult. But you'll get there eventually if you want to. So using words like I can't do that, I don't know how to do that, I could never do that, I wish I could do that, that is a complete lack of self-leadership. Because it's not about your capability. You can learn how to do anything that you want to do. It's about priority. Do you want to spend the time and the energy and the mental resource on actually learning this thing? And doing something that is difficult regularly is a way for you to lead yourself. You lead yourself by proving to yourself that you can do hard things. You can do things that you told yourself in the past that you weren't able to do. And you just go ahead and do it. And you accept that you're going to suck at it for such a long time before it starts feeling fun, before it starts getting interesting, before it starts feeling like there's a sense of flow. But learning to do hard things is the example that you set for yourself So you can prove to yourself every single time a situation comes up and you feel like saying, I can't do this, you remind yourself that there's nothing that you can't do. There's things that you choose not to do. There are things that you choose not to learn. And you get to decide, is this going to be a thing that I choose not to do, not to learn, not to prioritize? Because we're not going to do everything, right? There are things that we're just not going to do. There are things that we just don't find important. But if it's something that's deep in you, something you desire, something that you really want, do yourself the favor of proving to yourself that you can do it. And do yourself the favor of changing your language when you decide that you don't want to do it. So it doesn't become, I can't. I wish I could. I wish I could do that. The number of times I hear people say, I wish I could give up alcohol. My first response is always, you can if you really want to, but I don't think you want to. Because if you really wanted to, you would have done it already. Giving up alcohol is the easiest thing in the world. You just don't drink alcohol. The alcohol is there, you just don't put it in your body. It's so simple. The reason you haven't given up drinking, if that's what you say that you want, is because you actually don't want to give up drinking. You enjoy having those weekends where you go out and you have fun, and that's totally fine. Someone has made you believe that you should stop drinking. And maybe you've bought into that idea, but maybe that's just not what you want. Or maybe you're giving into your own excuse that you don't know, you can't give up. You tried. You tried giving it up, but you can't. Well, that's not true. Then you didn't actually try. Because it's so simple. Just don't put alcohol in your body. And I know that I'm making it sound like it's so easy. Of course, if you're in a situation you just feel like drinking so bad, but then you need to remind yourself why you want to stop drinking, if that's what you want. And that is self-leadership. Self-leadership is showing up for yourself. When you say you want something, you do it to prove it to yourself that you can. And you may just say, okay, I'm going to start with a month of not drinking alcohol. And then I'll see how it feels. And at least then you'll know, you'll have something to compare. How do your sober weekends feel like? How does it feel like having a tea when you come home tired instead of a glass of red wine? At least you'll have something to compare it with. And now you can make the informed decision of saying, you know what? I actually do want to go back to drinking a glass of red wine when I come home from work. Or maybe you're going to say, I love this. My sleep is better. I sleep earlier. I wake up earlier and more refreshed. And I love doing these things. And now I just don't want to drink anymore. That's great. Then you've made the decision. Telling yourself that you can't is a lack of self-leadership. And if you don't lead yourself, you can't expect other people to lead themselves. If you keep making excuses for why you're not doing things, you're going to have to accept excuses from other people for why they're not doing things. You can't have it both ways. You can't both be the person who says, oh, I know I should have done this, but I just didn't. I'm sorry. And not be able to accept that from other people. It's like Myron Golden says. He says, I don't make excuses, so I don't have to take excuses. And that is self-leadership. Making sure that you always show up in the way that you want to show up. You make sure that you become that person that you want to be. You make sure that you close the gap between that incredible human being that you know that you can be, the one that you would look up to, the one that you would respect, the one that you would love, and then the person that you are today. And I'm not saying that you're not worthy of respect or love at all. You definitely are. But are you showing up in the way that you want to? Or are you showing up in ways that every single day, or maybe just every single week, you have that pinch in your stomach like, I took the easy way out, I wish I hadn't done that. That makes you, when you have that feeling, that impacts your energy. That impacts how you show up. It impacts how you see yourself. The more you can see yourself in a way that you just love and respect and honor yourself, the more you show up stronger in your leadership. And the more you will love, respect, and honor other people as well. So this is why to lead others, You need to be able to lead yourself. To lead the life that you love, you need to be able to lead yourself. And it's really about figuring out where are you currently not doing that. So pay attention to your thoughts, pay attention to your feelings, pay attention to the words that you use, pay attention to your excuses, pay attention to what energy you show up with. And when you do that, you can start adjusting and stepping into that person that you know that you want to be. And that is self-leadership. It ended up being a little bit longer than I thought it would. Thank you so much for today. I wish you all a beautiful weekend. It is Harvest Day here in Rwanda, so it's a holiday. It's a beautiful sunny day, and I hope you have a great weekend. If you have any questions, the dogs are saying bye. If you have anything that you want me to talk about in the future, please let me know in the comments. I appreciate it so much. Bye.